G Factor with Glenys. I'm your host, Glenys Gassman, and today's guest is Bronwyn Reid. Hi, Bronwyn.
Hi, Glenys. Lovely to be here with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, Bronwyn is a best-selling author, speaker, and a small business mentor, and she's an advocate for strong business in a complicated world. What a great advocacy to have, right? Her latest books, bestsellers on Amazon and also Australia's Best Books 2021. Small Company, Big Business, and Small Company, Big Crisis is a must for small business owners out there looking for something to read. So Bronwyn, she's always up to something exciting. So with that being said, I'm going to welcome you to the show, Bronwyn. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Glenys. Thank you very much for inviting me to be part of your show.
Yeah, you're welcome. And you're coming to us from around Emerald in Queensland. Yeah.
I'm actually in Emerald in Queensland, in central Queensland, regional Australia, best place to be.
Absolutely. And, whenever I hear the word emerald, it's just green gems because that's my favorite gem is emerald, right? I should have actually put my emerald on this morning, but I didn't. But I have been to Emerald. It's a beautiful place. Yeah, I understand why you're there. Yeah.
At the moment, it looks great because we've had all that lovely rain. So, yes, it does look green like an emerald at the moment.
Fantastic. Awesome. So I like to start the show off by asking you, a question about, what are you currently up to and what are you excited about?
What I'm currently up to? Okay, well, of course, we're nearly up to Christmas.
So yes, we are.
I'm excited about my family coming home for Christmas. But then, of course, we will move into 2022, and that's also going to be fantastic. As you mentioned, I released a book. Well, Small Company, Big Crisis was released this year.
Yep.
And early in 2022, I will be releasing and launching a group course that goes with that book. So I'm very excited about that. Because my reason for writing the book, now I just want to point out that this is not a post-COVID book. I started writing that a long time ago.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what was your incentive and motivation for writing this book? Yeah.
My incentive, and it started out as a book about booms and busts.
Yeah.
And how economic booms and busts come and go.
Yeah.
And they come and go and come and go. And
yet, the weather. Yep.
Yeah. And yet we all seem to be surprised when it happens.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at the trajectory of a boom and bust, they all unfold exactly the same way. And the psychology in each of those phases is always the same.
Yeah.
So that's how the book started out.
And that's the book of, what is it, Small Company, Big Business?
Big Crisis.
Big Crisis. Small Company, Big Crisis. Yeah, okay, fantastic.
Then, of course, going into 2019, we then had all the bushfires.
Yeah.
And of course, being in Australia, we have cyclones and we have floods and then more cyclones and more floods and more bushfires. Again, but we always seem to be surprised when it happens. We treat the crisis time as the abnormal when we know the next one is going to be coming. It might be it's a bit like a council bus. Not quite sure when it's going to be coming, but it is going to be coming. So those two themes came together, and Small Company, Big Crisis was the result.
And then really good in-depth way you're looking at it. It's a little bit like, with the pandemic, as well. Like they knew it was coming. We've had so many pandemics right all the way back, right? So it was coming. But to most of us, including me, it was a shock, all right? And we weren't prepared for it, right? So it'd be very interesting. So when are you releasing this book? And
the book is out. The book was released on April 14th, 2021.
Yep.
Did become a bestseller.
Is this a bestseller on Amazon?
It was, and at one point it was outselling two sort of relatively unknown people, Bill Gates and Elon Musk. So,
oh, really? Outselling Bill Gates and Elon? Congratulations! What a massive achievement that is.
Absolutely chuffed. Yes, I managed. I got the screenshot. I absolutely got the screenshot.
Good on you. Yeah, because it's so topical. Like great subject line. And can you tell us a little bit of what it covers in there?
The subtitle of the book is How to Prepare for, Respond to and Recover from a Business Crisis, which pretty well covers it up, sums it up. What I find is that there is a whole risk management industry. Glenys, I'm sure you're aware of that.
I am.
And what the risk management industry has done is turned risk management into something that's only understood by other people in risk management with acronyms and language and whatever. And that is part of the reason why small business owners, and I say part, they're overwhelmed by it and they run a mile. So the result is that there is no risk management planning in the majority of small businesses.
That's right.
That is my mission, to introduce it to small business owners, but in a way that takes away that whole black magic veil of secrecy.
Yeah.
I don't even use the word risk management.
Oh, really? That's great. So, well, I want to ask you the question. It's like, what does risk management for small business owners? Because like I work with small business owners, I mentor small business coaches around, growing and scaling their business, right? Which is always a little bit scary for some business owners because it's more fear of success. What am I going to do now? That sort of thing, right? So there's always a lot of apprehension around, what happens here? What happens here? So when you talk risk management for small business, what exactly does it cover? Workplace health and safety? Anything else? Yeah.
What the Small Company Big Crisis is all about is literally things that can impact your business. So I'm setting aside the whole conversation about, the risks of being a growing business, which of course we know are real.
Yes.
But we usually think of a crisis as what I said before. It's a pandemic, it's a cyclone, it's a flood, it's a bushfire. But there are so many other things that will impact a small business.
Yes.
We've got to think a little bit further, and this is the path I'm on. What happens if your best employee leaves that's been with you for 25 years?
Absolutely.
Takes all their knowledge with them and goes to your competitor?
Yeah.
What happens if consumer tastes change? Or technology changes? Do you remember VHS videotapes?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember BB videotapes?
What about the little cassettes that we just shoved in,
Exactly.
My first one was Michael Jackson, yeah. But,
disputes, family. I lost a brother, so I know what a family tragedy can do to completely derail a business.
Yeah. So have you got these chapters in your book around all these areas to think about and start doing the thinking and grappling about, well, what if this happened? What have I got in place for this and this and this? Yeah.
What it delivers is a framework, a simple framework. We'll put that whole risk management industry stuff to the side. It's a simple framework that a small business owner can work through with their team, their family even, to identify the things that could go wrong in their business.
Yeah, fantastic.
And then there's, the remainder of the steps in the framework follow through until you get to the end where, when the bomb actually drops, you know what you're going to do. And the best thing is that your action plan can also become your recovery plan.
Yeah, that's so great. So I know that, we're dealing with a lot of small businesses. They're main aim, I suppose, of their game is they always say to me, I need more clients, or, I need more leads, or I want to convert, one more income, all right, or more cash flow. They talk about those sorts of things, all right. And no one really, and there's business coaches out there that will take them through, what they've got to look at to generate the right leads and convert the right leads and not burn them, and bring those people back more times, offering them something different, and those sorts of things, all right? But no one ever, and I haven't ever talked to anyone, so it's great that we're chatting today, because, no one ever has approached that subject of the risk adverse, right? What happens if this, and throughout my experience of running an accounting practice, I did for 15 years as a chartered accountant, I saw a lot of problems around exactly what you were talking about, that no one had thought of. Even to the point where people would come to me and say, I want to set up a partnership. And I said, great, bring your partner and let's have a sit down, because we've got to work out an exit strategy first before we get an ABN. And they were really like, what's that? And I go, yeah, we have to work out what you're going to put in your agreement as far as an exit strategy, because I've seen so many relationships go down, family breakups, and all those things that are attached to family breakups, because of no one's done that forethought and the planning further. So I love the fact that you've done all this, you've created a framework for this, right? And now you're going to create, or you have already created a group program that you're going to take people through.
I've created, because I truly believe, Glenys, that if you get a bunch of small businesses together, and I'm talking only 6 to 9 people, not massive, they will always learn as much from each other than they will ever learn from me.
Oh, totally, absolutely.
I don't pretend that I'm the font of all knowledge.
No.
So, and especially because this is stuff that probably a lot of them have never thought about before. So having that ability to bounce ideas off other small business owners, I think, well, I'm hoping it will be really valuable for them.
It will. Like I ran group coaching back in 2008 to 2011. At some stage I had 4 groups of 8. 8's a great number. So when you said 7 to 9, perfect, and they learn so much from each other.
Yeah.
And even though they're different businesses, product, service, B2B, B2C, doesn't matter. But I'm currently doing beta testing on some group programs that I'm running next year. And I'm doing a beta test with some 10 profit strategies to implement in your business. We did 5 weeks before Christmas, 5 weeks after Christmas.
Right.
It works because I've got 6 in the beta group, and they're learning so much from each other. It's amazing. So you are right. Like, they're going to learn from each other in different industries. And when are you hoping to launch this, Bronwyn?
I'm thinking end of February.
Yeah, great time. Time. Yeah, that's fantastic. Awesome. Well, I think going down that line is something that every small business owner needs to have a look at. And I'm sure, having you as the facilitator and someone who's got that level of experience behind you and created the framework, they're going to have that all locked away. How long is the course for?
6 weeks.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
I'm doing 6 weeks.
6 weeks time they will learn about it, but then obviously there's implementation to be done. Yeah.
When I say 6 weeks, I'm actually still toying with 9 weeks. Because I have a couple of my buddies that I hang around with in small business world that I think would be able to add a lot to the program.
Yeah.
So I'm toying with inviting them in to do a couple of guest sessions.
Nice.
That I think would be really valuable to the participants.
Yeah.
Haven't quite nailed that one down yet.
I always feel that we overestimate what we think we can achieve in a certain period of time. And I know myself that, when we're starting to do what I call market dominating position, how we're so unique and who we're targeting in our lead generation course, that takes a month. Like, it's just a week to do the workbook and the video, but by the time you talk it out, talk it through, do the thinking, put it down, pick it up again, do more thinking, it's around about a month before you really get it right. So,
and also when you're introducing material that's new like this, it does take a couple of repeats before it starts to make sense. I know in the last probably 6 or 8 months, I have done two courses, both of which were material that was A, quite new to me, and B, extremely dense, like packed full. And I've had to go over that stuff several times. It's now becoming much easier for me to synthesize it in my brain. But when you are exposed to a new concept, it does take a while to turn it over and become part of your thinking.
Absolutely. I think that's pretty much for everyone, and to actually have that really ingrained in what we're doing with the small business as well. So tell me, you also have people, you've been coaching small businesses, you're a small business mentor. You have them step into a bigger game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how important do you think it is for small business owners to reinvent themselves and step into a bigger game?
Oh, how long have we got, Glenys? Well, my first book was called Small Company, Big Business.
Yep.
And that is a reflection of my experience over a lifetime of being a small supplier to very, very large companies.
Gotcha. Yeah.
My environmental consultancy, which is 25 years old, we supply to BHP, Rio Tinto, all of those big names. My family has agribusiness operations here. They've always supplied to big organisations, Coles, that sort of thing. So I know that dealing with these big organisations is not easy. They are a difficult beast. And when I started to do it in our environmental business, selling into the mining industry, I just realised how hard it was. And there wasn't a manual. Everything that was written about the small company and big business relationship was written from the big business point of view.
Yeah.
There was nothing from the small business point of view. So I went and wrote the book.
Fantastic.
So that was Small Company, Big Business. So that's the intention of that book, is to get a small business to the point where they can confidently and successfully bid for business with those big names.
Fantastic. And have you created a group program for that?
I have.
Yeah, fantastic.
I have. I haven't delivered that group program yet either. I've always just done that one-to-one.
Yeah.
But of course now with COVID, that didn't happen. So, and again, I think the benefits that you and I both know of a group program apply equally to that material as they do to.
There's a lot of small businesses out there that are wanting to get into the bigger companies, not mining or something like that, but just into bigger companies where they have their own culture that you'll need to follow and, just be aware of, and who to talk to, and because those sorts of places, I would presume, are very hard to get through the ranks to actually get.
Exactly. But even your local council, if you want to take on contracts with your local council, they have specifications. They have a bar. You've got to comply with these things before you can get a contract with your local council. And of course, what that leads to is that when government starts spreading around billions of dollars in infrastructure funding to, say, the Central Highlands Regional Council, a lot of small businesses can't partake.
No.
They're not ready. They're not contract ready. So you don't have to be dealing with BHP or Rio Tinto. It's down to your local council level,
which is awesome. And do you get them contract ready?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Again, it's got a 5-step process.
Yeah, every small business owner who's listening to this show right now, you need to get council ready, because you know, you never know when opportunities arise, and you want to be able to be seen as that supplier that can supply and deliver. And so Bronwyn, that's really great that you've got that angle as well.
There is a big change coming, Glenys.
Yeah.
COVID-19 and the pandemic has, as I say, the world was ringing with the sound of breaking supply chains. There are many, many businesses that have realized that long, complicated overseas supply chains are very, very risky. Now, prior to that, a big company was reluctant to deal with a small company like mine because we're risky. We might go broke. We might not be able to deliver. But then when COVID hit and all the planes stopped and the ships stopped and the people stopped, they realized exactly where the risk is. So there's a whole, movement, pressure for local procurement and back into local manufacturing. So this is a happy space for small businesses if they can themselves ready.
Yeah, sounds great. And definitely local to local. We don't need the, we do need, you know, some form of overseas input, but we don't need to be talking about risk, risk minimization. We definitely don't want to have all our eggs in the OS basket, that's for sure.
Which is what happened in paint. And where we've got this situation now where there's an additive for diesel engines.
Urea, I was just reading it last night actually. My daughter brought it up to me. We were doing a Zoom call and she was talking to me about that as well. What was that additive? AdBlue, was it?
AdBlue, it's called.
AdBlue, which is a derivative of urea.
Apparently so. I'm not a chemist, but when that goes down another whole path. I was out in Barcaldine in further west than here, recently, and Professor Ross Garno, I'm sure that name would be familiar to you.
Yeah.
He's been out there working on alternative energy projects, and Barcaldine has got this whole alternative energy precinct.
Wow.
Under planning, where they would be using hydrogen to produce urea. So we don't have to import this stuff.
No, we've got it local. And how many kilometres away from Emerald is that place?
Barcaldine's about a 3-hour drive, I think. 2-hour, 2.5, 3-hour drive.
Yeah. And we just need these businesses to be seen, to come out, to be saying, hey, look at what we're doing, and to be able to put them in front of the councils or the bit larger businesses that actually can make a difference, and you start using them and perhaps even invest in them, put some investment into.
Exactly. There is a whole heap of stuff happening in regional Australia, Glenys. I know that, most of probably a lot of your audience is city-centric. For instance, around here where I live, within 30 minutes of where I'm sitting at the moment, there is a world-leading agricultural robotics company.
Wow. Yeah.
And I mean world-leading. There is so much happening in ag tech. I just mentioned Barcaldine. I've just been up to Proserpine. They're breeding coral in tanks. There's all sorts of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Sorry. You'll have to cut that bit out. Stop. You'll have to edit that bit, Glenys. I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
So that's I know there's just so much, from my business point of view, I've been searching for great coaches in the regional areas, because right from COVID-19, I knew local procurement needed to be there. And most business coaches think that they have to be in the city and you've got to be in the corporate world, or you've got to be seen to be going out to places, but you actually don't. Virtual is where people they get so much more productivity out of just honing into, looking at you. And if you can go and see your clients, a couple of times a year, but, like physically, and we're starting to open up everything now, Queensland just opening up, Like, it just makes a difference. But local coaches being able to support and train and develop businesses to focus on what actually is going to really help them grow and scale and in a risk minimized way is where we're heading as well. So,
Absolutely.
we focus more on the business side of things and, the growth and the scale of businesses. There's certainly, you're niching into, some great areas. And, they say that, if you niche into your business, you niche right in, you're going to grow exceptionally well, right? You can't be everything to everyone. So having these specialities to be, added in on top of what we were already doing, because we can't be everything to everyone.
No.
That's really great. So,
and that whole growth and scale thing, it's really hard.
It is.
That is hard. In our environmental consultancy, went from 2 people in the back bedroom to went up to 15. I think we were at the top, and then of course the resources boom turned into a resources bust.
Yeah.
And we lost 2/3 of our business in a couple of weeks. So we went right back down again, and then we went back up again, and it is hard stuff.
Because you get into business in the first place to provide a service or a product that you're really good at, that you really know a lot about, right? And most business owners aren't trained up in people skills, okay? No. And how to manage people and manage personalities. And I was just running a teamwork session for one of my clients on Friday morning, and he's a bearing shop here in Brisbane, and I've been working with him for 5 years now. We've tripled his turnover. And, we've grown in people, all right? But we're finding that we're hitting a bit of a plateau because they're not working together, all right? They're not being a championship team. And so, I worked with them on Friday, and I just had a session with them this morning. He goes, oh, my God, what a difference Friday afternoon was, They're all starting to work as a team. And so it really does take a little bit of input from a lot of different people to keep that growth and scale up. And you're right, we have external factors, political, environmental, all those sorts of things that do come in and want to shake us from our tree. But if we've got solid foundations set up in the beginning, then the shake typically is not going to crack. That's the way I look at it, So it's those solid foundations on the bottom that we must have in place. Part of those is risk minimization.
In fact, the Small Company Big Business book, the second step in the whole process of getting your business contract ready is called Set Your Foundations. And that's exactly what it is. You can't build a house on wobbly foundations, and you cannot expect a large company or a government department or a council to want to do business with you if you haven't got those good, solid foundations in place.
Exactly. And it's not all about, for me, there's leadership skills that I consider as strong foundations as well, like, the values, your beliefs, the integrity, the responsibility, taking ownership, those sorts of things all need to be in place right from the word go.
Yep.
And then, if a cyclone comes along, it's not going to blow you from the tree. I always say to people when they're working with me, there's 3 reasons why you wouldn't turn up on a call. One, there's an earthquake. One, there's a tidal wave. And the other one is you or yourself, your family are in a hospital. Other than that, no excuses. We're rocking up to the call. I don't care if you've done what you said you were going to do or not. We've got to have integrity to the process. And that in itself, it sets a framework. Not everyone likes to work with me because of that. But,
exactly. Actually, that's interesting, because another thing I'm going to launch next year is what I've called power session mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of small businesses, you know what it's like being a small business owner. This happens, and then that happens, and then Joe crashes the car, and then the supplier rings up, and it happens.
It's gone, and you haven't hit your targets.
Correct. Not every business owner needs that typical paradigm of 1 hour a month or 1 hour a week, and it just doesn't fit with everybody. So, and sometimes you've got that urgent problem. I just got to solve this right now.
I just need to talk to someone. Yeah.
I need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
So what I've done is what I'm calling power session mentoring. So you pay up front, and then you have unlimited 15-minute calls with me.
Yeah. Love it.
But there's some parameters around it. You can't just phone me at midnight. And at the end of each call, we agree on something that will be done. And there is no next call until that thing is done.
Yeah. That's very good. I love it. Yeah. I set up something back in 2015, not 15-minute calls. It was half-hour calls or an hour calls, and you bought them in packages of 5 or 10. When people work with you for a while, like I have clients work with me for 18 months, 2 years or more, 3 years, and they get a bit sick of being held accountable, or things change and they just want a bit of a break,
Yeah.
And I think most coaches know that, and you have a limited lifetime of coaching. They're the ones that I offer that to. So great, I know your business now. I know I know where you're trying to get to. How about, and there was a series of so many calls that they could have for a certain price over a certain period of time.
And how did you find it worked?
It worked perfectly. I had about five clients take me up in the first year of that all of a sudden, I don't know if you find that you have an influx, and then you have all of a sudden someone says, I don't feel like coaching anymore. And then the next person it's either in a series of 3 or series of 5, I find. And so that's when you have another offer, and they still want you around, but they just don't want to talk to you every week or fortnight, and they don't want to be held accountable to implementing because it's got them so far. They want a bit of a break, and that's perfectly fine. That's human nature, really.
Yeah, I have that mentor myself. That I don't have to have accountability and whatever, but this person is so experienced and has seen so many things that I just want to pick his brain.
Exactly. Well, that's what you want, don't it? You want to pick your brain, and you want to. And I love the fact what you said, that you don't leave the call without having an actionable item, and that it's got to be completed before the next call. That's in itself a level of accountability, which is great. Hello, are you there?
It is. It is. Hello.
Just lost you a little bit there.
Okay. Come back again?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay. I can't have people just ringing me every 3 times a day for a 15-minute chat. There's got to be
structure around it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other rule. No chit chat.
Yeah. No.
It's a 15-minute focused conversation.
Power session.
It's a power session.
It's
exactly.
A power session. That's great. So tell me, I'm gonna have the last question ready for you in a minute, but I just want to, is there any share a story around someone that you have taken from here to here with, what your, the crisis, from a crisis, they were on their track, they were tracking to crisis, and you've diverted them?
No, I haven't, because this is all the new stuff that I'm moving into. Okay. So no, I don't have that story.
Well, tell me another story about successes that you've created. I'm sure you've created heaps of.
Oh, there's so many wonderful people. One guy here, he bought a small engineering firm, and they invented this, a roller bearing.
Yeah.
And because they use them, squillions of them in the mining industry. And this particular bearing, yes, it costs more, but it lasts an enormous amount, a lot longer, and it's smart.
Yes.
So that normally if a bearing was not working properly, somebody would have to get out and go traipsing. They shut down the whole conveyor, and then somebody goes traipsing down, inspects every bearing all the way down. No, these ones are smart, so you can identify which bearing is
Wow.
needs replacing. More than that, you can put these virtual reality glasses on and you can actually see what's happening. It's just mind-blowingly astonishing. He did have trouble getting into the mining companies, and this is one of the things you have to watch out with these companies, is that they're very stuck in their ways. They're very, you really have to do create and present an excellent value proposition, because that person that's taking the risk on you, they've got somebody above them, and then they've got somebody above them, and then and they don't want their derriere to be on the line.
Absolutely, yeah. They want to make sure that this is the real deal, right? Yeah.
And so that's a large part of what we have to do as a small business owner. Our job is to make our contact within the company look good.
Yes, that's right. And you helped him do that, and he got into the mining. Yeah.
Make him look like a hero. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, fantastic. That's awesome. So, final question of the day: the G factor, unique set of skills, experiences, disciplines that has given us the edge in business. All right. So, if you look back at everything that you've done, and what's the one skill or discipline that you believe has been the most important factor to your G factor?
Wow, that is a really hard question, Glennis.
I know. You can give me 2 or 3, but some people go, "Oh, 1." Probably a couple.
My first answer is it's the sum of the parts. Because, as I said before, I grew up on a property around here in regional Australia. My family were innovative farmers, and each experience builds on the others. I guess if you had to pick one, it would be, I don't know what the word is, resilience, bravery, madness.
Great. I think resilience comes up a lot. Resilience and having courage.
Yeah.
Having courage just to take that risk and know that it's calculated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, both myself and my husband come from self-employed families.
Yeah.
And their parents were, and their parents were, and their parents were. So this whole thing about being owning and running your own business, and also as a husband and wife team, was totally normal for us. So I guess it was just expected. But then having the wherewithal, whatever it takes to step out and say, right, mark in the sand. We moved back from overseas from a very comfortable position with a very large development bank to nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So I guess it's that, whatever that word is.
Yeah, I think it's courage and resilience, I think, mixed all together. But we also have this intrinsic knowledge inside of us to know that what we're doing is going to make the difference out there too. It's not all about us, is it? We know that what we're doing is going to make the difference, and if we can inspire others to do this, to do whatever it is. When in the coaching world, for me, it's all about providing that support and inspiring others to be the best they possibly can be. So when you're doing that and you're helping others succeed, then you succeed at the same time. So for me, it's always about the others, and everything else just comes, isn't it?
Absolutely. If you wanted to pick the one word for that, it's sustainability. Now, I know everyone uses sustainability now and it's a buzzword, but we started doing this 35 years ago. 35 years ago, my husband and his co-author wrote a set of books on best management agricultural practices in plantations. Now, they were 25 years ahead of their time. Yeah. For me, it's about building sustainable businesses in a complicated world.
Yeah, and that's great. And it's so topical. And I wish you all the best. And I'm sure we'll be talking from this anyway, from our interview, because I think that we have definitely complementary products.
Absolutely.
And services out there.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? Look, what's the best way for people to reach out to you, Bronwyn?
Best way is just through my website, which is very simple, bronwynreid.com.au.
Fantastic. So look, if you're wanting, anyone who's listening today, you're wanting to, mitigate your risks and really have a framework around protecting yourself from booms and busts in any context that we're talking about, reach out to Bronwyn. She's got the goods around this and years of experience.
And the scars to prove it, Glenys, and the scars to prove it.
And all the scars to prove it. And her dog as well. He agreeing. Well, look, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on the G-Factor show today. Thoroughly enjoyed our conversation.
It's been a pleasure, Glenys.
I look forward to hearing about your group work and, small business, big crisis and how that's going for you. I'm sure it's going to be out there another bestseller.
Hope so.
It will. Awesome.
Bye.